Welcome back to the Real Music Talks. Today's guest is Mosaic, a three-piece band from Bristol. How you guys doing?
Hey,
Not bad, not
good,
bad, not
thanks.
bad.
How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all.
Cool.
So it's quite interesting. When I was looking at you guys, looking at your genre, you put like alt, alt rock, pop punk, etc. So how would you kind of describe the music you do and where you kind of
We're,
fit?
we're we're a bit of everything, aren't we?
We're not R&B.
We're not.
We're not K-pop.
No, no. We
Bit
we
of-
sort
bit
of
of all
like. I think it's sort of like we label it alt rock because that's quite a broad genre, isn't it? But we got like some of the songs are a bit more pop punk, some's a bit more like indie pop sort of thing. It's we sort of cover all bases. We just make music that makes you feel good, basically. It's all feel good, happy tunes, no matter what genre it covers.
Yeah, I think our premise from the beginning was we can make complicated music and it's fun to play, but as long as it's still accessible to anybody. So it's still like you can still nod your head to it, but it might be in some weird like 7/4 or 9/4 time signature, but still.
I think that's mostly to please me, I think.
Everything is just to please you, I think.
I was going to say, where did that kind of odd time signature influence come from for you guys? And like, why did you choose to do that, if that makes sense? Just because it's fun?
Go on. For me, I really loved System of a Down growing up, Tool. And then when I met Joe, he introduced me to Rush. And more recently, things like who the guys who played Nocturne, Tesseract. But anyway, it just seemed to be these metal bands doing these odd time signatures, and there's something about the metal aesthetic that's too heavy for me. So I wanted to see if can we bring it into a pop with a pop aesthetic or rock aesthetic, more accessible. I guess that was my
More like
that's my
commercial.
angle.
Yeah, I mean, good example of that was when we did Runaway. I think we did spend
Years, man.
one practice where we spent like 3 hours just playing like the guitar rhythm over the drums, just like trying to get that right, because it's such a weird, because it was a polyrhythm really, because it was your rhythm against mine, and then playing.
Does your audience like numbers, Dan? I can tease them with the numbers. Is that a good idea?
I don't think we want to get into the complex.
Okay.
In this one.
It was hard. It was hard.
So this question, maybe like if you guys want to go like individually, take it in turns on it. Do you want to briefly talk us through like your musical journey? So like where you first got into music, and then like how you got to where you are now. Maybe like individually, and then we can collaborate on like how the band formed after.
Cool. Jared, do you want to go ahead?
I'll go first. Yeah. So I think I picked up the guitar when I was 11. Because my dad played guitar, and I think the first time I kind of went, I want to play guitar, he played Smoke on the Water on an acoustic guitar, showing me how to play it. I was like, oh, that sounds cool.
Classic.
sounds a bit funny now, but yeah, I think when I picked up guitar, I started playing more guitar-based music, so Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Gary Moore, sort of bluesy stuff, but then also some of the weird things, and I think that's where I get a lot of my weird influence. As time went on, I think it went on to heavier stuff. So Also Bridge was someone that I picked up a little bit later on, and then it was just kind of I just expanded from then to funk and jazz, blues, rock, metal, kind of just everything. And then where did I go from there? And then I picked up Dream Theater, which I think is where a lot of our weird polyrhythms and like, crazy bits come in, I think.
We're just holding off on the 20-minute tracks for now.
Yeah, they got a few really long ones.
Yeah. So I think I took a lot of influence, probably more for my singing from that, I think. Not that I can sing anything like Dream Theater, but it's just, I think, where I have certain elements in the way I sing, my style is similar to that. And then probably Tenacious D is a big one as well. I feel like I would use a lot of their songs to warm up before I'd start to do something. I feel like my range is somewhere in there somewhere where I can sing to theirs quite easily without struggling to reach any notes.
Master Exploder.
Right, that's probably a bit high, to be fair, but their first album, definitely. Yeah, and then I think in my university years, Ruben became quite a big one when I discovered them. The drummer in my band at university, he introduced me to them. Yeah, they were absolutely spot on band. Yeah, and then it's kind of just expanded. I started a radio station last year. Well, I started a radio show with funk music, so I kind of then started listening to a lot more funk. But yeah, as I kind of, it's grown wider and wider ever since. But I think I still always come back to sort of guitar-based, like rock music, a lot of solos. Yeah, that's pretty much it, to be fair.
Cool. So I go ahead. I first got a guitar when I was about 15, something like that. But I've been listening to like all the sort of the heavy stuff, like Vic said, System of a Down and Creed and Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit, stuff like that. I think when I started learning guitar, I was really into like Metallica at the time, so I first started learning like loads of Metallica tracks and stuff like that, which was really cool. Again, through time, like Jared, I sort of, I don't know, I've gone from a sort of float to heavy and out of it, but I sort of listened to a lot of like Guns N' Roses and Metallica and stuff like that when I was younger. Then sort of went into more of the like heavier stuff. I can't think of any bands now, but then going. I mean, the last sort of 5 or 6 years, I've just sort of been on a like just happy, energetic music, like lots of pop punk and like Jared said, like Ruben, I'm a big fan of. Just lots of things that just have got a good energy and a good feel to them. So not necessarily like that it's happy songs or happy lyrics, but like Jared, I also do a radio show which is alternative music. So it's a lot of a lot of like metal, but sort of pop punk and metal, things like that. But it's just all things that just it makes you feel good because it's got a good energy and it's sort of dragging you, which is I think what I sort of brought to the band a little bit, making things a bit faster and a bit punkier, and which Vic doesn't like sometimes, but
we always feel good though.
The energy is good and we all feel good, and everyone that watches feels good as well. So, but yeah, no, I take a lot of influence as well from like the Pixies and stuff like that. As one of my favourite bands for years. So obviously learn a lot of Kim Deal bass lines and things like that. So I only actually got a bass guitar like 3 years ago or something like that. When did I join the band? That 2018. I think I got a bass guitar about a year before that, something like that. But I've been playing guitar for a good like 10, 12 years. So it's just bass is just it comes a bit more naturally, but a bit easier and just seems to fit me more. That's about it.
Vico. What was the question again? About my drumming or about my music taste?
Yeah, sorry, we just rambled on for so long that he's just fallen asleep.
So, like, the story of like how you first got into music and how you like developed as a musician, and kind of like how you got from there to where you are now.
Mad. My granddad's sister is a violinist, pianist. Every time I go to Bulgaria and to her flat, she's trying to teach me some piano. So that's from a very young age. There was that piano influence.
Wait, you're Bulgarian?
Guilty. Yeah, and but I didn't take any official lessons. It's just sort of her casually show me a few things. But when I got to year 7 in school, there was the opportunity to get drum lessons, and something about that was exciting to me. So I took drums. Most of about 6 years after that, it was just turning up to lessons and doing the grades. I didn't really do anything with other people. I got like weaseled into doing the school band and stuff. I say weaseled because, you know, when you first hear about it, you think it's a bit nerdy, but after a few sessions, you sort of start to enjoy it. It was like a band tour, and that's where I met Jared, and he introduced me to Tenacious D. We bonded over the Pick of Destiny, which appealed most to me because from then I had System of a Down in my life, and from there they had this this aesthetic of joy and jesting with their music. They'd sort of set something up and they'd play a little musical joke, and they wouldn't, not that serious, whereas other musicians seem to take themselves quite seriously. So I like that, and Tenacious D were along those lines. With regards to the drums, I was taking up every opportunity I could through the school band. There was a jazz band, there was an orchestra, so I did the percussion. I did everyone's first cover band, Metallica sort of style. Covers band, doing just popular things. At uni, jazz band, wind band, prog metal band. That was it's pretty heavy. When I came back from uni, then Jared and I found each other again, and we just started applying all of our influences, which is why we called ourselves Mosaic, because we had this jazz, we had this funk, we had this metal, we had this rock. We're trying to make it popular, progressing through there. Recently, I like the Pineapple Thief because of Gavin Harrison, big drummer, loads of space in their music for drum licks and things. So that's what I've been listening to recently, and it's been inspiring me. But I guess I like all sorts of music. If there's something interesting, some little tweak that's unexpected.
I think we've all got little bits that just make it a bit different. We sort of each pull it in different directions, don't we? So like you pull it in a bit more of the sort of progressive and stuff like that. I bring it in more of the sort of like punky, and Jared brings it in more of the like, well, just amazing guitar basically. It's just like all the things like that. We all it's like this ball of goo, and we all just pull it in different directions. Like a ball of dough. That makes more sense, doesn't it?
I like this. Keep going with the metaphor. Keep it going. This is good.
We all need
like a balloon full of flour.
So thinking about the metaphor that we just discussed, like, what's your approach to songwriting? So how does it normally start? Like, does someone come with a riff first? You know, a lyrics brought to the table. What does that normally look like?
It tends to be riff based, I think.
Yeah, it's usually sort of like Jared will start playing something, or I'll start playing something, or Vic will start playing something, and we just sort of jam to it. And then once we sort of got a nice musical idea together, you usually go away and write the lyrics, I think.
So yeah, I think we'll progress on that night. We'll come up with some sort of idea, and then if it sparks an interest, then we'll progress that further. But I think there was a time where we wrote like 7 or 8 ideas, and then we may have thrown away 2 or 3 of them, and then kept a couple just because we're like, okay, let's just get the ball rolling and write a bunch of things that we like, because we record everything. So I think me and Victor, when we first started, we recorded 4-hour sessions every time we practiced. So I think I've got about 100 hours of music that we've just recorded on my computer, just so you can go back and listen to all of that, and you go, okay, oh no, that one little thing that we played that one time, we can find it. It's always there.
And because it's so long ago.
Yeah, I feel like that was a really good way for us to actually find ideas. And it's quite funny when you look back, because you can go, oh look, there's like, you can hear us playing a seed of Runaway, like 7 weeks before we actually wrote it. Just like we had that idea sprinkled in there somewhere.
That's the thing. I think where we used to practice obviously in the garage, and we could all plug in and everything. It works a little bit differently when we're in like the like rehearsal studios, because we're not recording everything. But then you sort of find like you come up with an idea, we play through it a few times, and think, oh, that's good, we should record that. And then half the time it changes, like we forgot what we were playing, and it ends up being something else. But it's just a sort of natural progression of it. It still sounds good. It sounds like even better, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then I'll write lyrics, and then we'll play it, and then I'll forget all the lyrics, and then we'll just keep trying, because that's what I'm good at.
So it's quite interesting. It sounds like that like recording space you had was quite a key influence on like how you work together as a band.
Yeah, big time.
It's interesting because although it's really good that we can get everything recorded, I sort of feel that when we've sort of got that more space in the rehearsal studio, and like it feels more like a sort of live setup rather than like a studio setup. I don't know. To me, it feels like we come up with more idea, or it sort of comes more natural, the ideas. Whereas like in the garage, when we're sort of plugged in with headphones and everything, it sort of I don't know, it doesn't progress as quickly until you've got the idea, and then we can progress it quite well. But I don't know, it feels like ideas bounce off a lot easier when we're in the rehearsal studio.
Yeah, the studio when we're all plugged in together, everything is under a microscope. So although we can all hear our voices really clearly, we can hear every instrument really clearly, but we can also hear everything really clearly. So kind of you can go, okay, that that one little harmony bit, we just need to if we want to look at it under a microscope and go, let's fix this bit or fix that bit. It's really good to be in the studio doing it. But when we're coming up with raw ideas, we don't need to do that. Sometimes having that practice space where everything is kind of has that live feel is just better.
Yeah, because a lot of the time we're going to be looking at playing these songs live anyway, so it's sort of like it's not so much it covers like mistakes and things, but it might be that a note that would sound good, like as I was under the microscope, when it's got a bit more distortion and the sort of like the reverb of the room and things like that, it might not be as sort of precise. Like it might sound better, like that. It sort of just it fits better.
I don't know if I disagree. I just think in the live room it feels right to when we make things live, and then in the studio to specifically write it for the album, for the recorded thing. It feels like those are appropriate spaces for each of those things. So far, I guess we've never had the money to pay for a proper recording studio, so we've always plugged in. That's how we've done it.
Yeah, I think it's sort of a good, like, I think both sides are really good, and it's sort of like we obviously with the like COVID and everything, we've not been able to be so close and practice as much. So moving forward, obviously, I think the ideal thing is that sort of split it. So like sometimes it might be like 1 week we do it in the rehearsal studio, we come up with some raw ideas, and then the next week we're in the close plugged in, working on that idea and sort of getting the fine points of it.
How have you guys sort of dealt with COVID and the restrictions? How has it kind of affected you as a band?
We just decided to not really focus too much on writing, and then just doing covers. So I think we've not done too many covers, but like we did a decent Shania Twain one, which was pretty cool. But again, we didn't need to be together. We just send the files to each other and then just record it that way. So it's been I think it's helped us progress a bit more because remote working essentially is something that we it's another string for our bow essentially, although it's not the most ideal way to do it, but it's still something we can do. So I'll record a bit at home and then I'll send it to Chris and he can do the bass and Victor can do the drums, and then we can just send it all back to each other and then we all have everything. We use an online data storage thing that whenever I edit the track, it's automatically uploaded, so they always have access to it, which is really good. So it kind of makes everything accessible for everybody in their own home, which is quite cool.
Yeah, it's sort of frustrating because we spent a long time sort of preparing music and getting to the point where we could start gigging, which obviously we did in 2019. Yeah, 2019. So by the end of 2019 into 2020, we were just starting to sort of kick on. We were playing basically at least one gig a month, and we're sort of getting people saying, "Oh wow, that was really good. I can follow you guys. I'll check you out again," sort of thing. So we're just getting to that. Then we go to release our EP in April, and we had 2 gigs planned for that week as well. And then obviously we're in lockdown, and it completely changes. I think it worked well for us because lots of people listened to our music then because they couldn't do anything else. Basically, because it's not like they didn't have to think, "Oh, that's my mate's band. When I get a chance, I'll check it out." It's just like, well, I'm not working. I can't go anywhere. I may as well chuck it on. And I think we got a lot of listens and a lot of good feedback from that. So, but like Jared said, obviously, we obviously worked on a few covers, and I think the original plan when we came out of the first lockdown was we're going to write stuff because we're not going to gig for ages now. So let's just write a load of stuff. We got a few ideas together, but then another lockdown, and we sort of got held back with that because we weren't quite at the point that we could record it or anything like that. But we've picked that up again now after this last lockdown, which I think we've got sort of 3, 4 songs that are pretty much good to go. Like just need sort of properly recording now. So I think it's been good to have those breaks because it's given us time to write lyrics and things to these near enough full song ideas that we had. We've now been able to put lyrics in that downtime, and now we've got songs, not just like musical entities
or ideas.
or ideas.
Perhaps there's space for the band. We wanted to get the ball rolling with that EP launch, but the COVID put a stop to it. I spent a lot more time just drumming on my own, and then this like drum face guy thing I'm trying to do, where I'm just drumming to our tracks, trying to engage the drumming community. Chris and Jared sort of started a radio show, joined a radio show, and started their own radio show. So we've where we couldn't meet as a band, we've just done other things musically that we're into. But yeah, now we started meeting again. It's nice to get back onto writing and rehearsing.
Yeah, I think it's good as well because although we have got gigs planned sort of coming up, but we've still got quite a bit of space before any of them come out. I think the next one we've actually got booked in at the moment is October, so we've got a bit of breathing space as well to get these songs like good to go, so we can put them into our maybe not recorded and released, but they can go into our live show, and that's just obviously when you're playing the same songs every time, you want to mix it up, and when we've got more songs we can play, it's obviously just people don't know what they're going to get today. So they come to one gig one week, and then a couple of weeks later they come to another gig, and it might be a completely different set. They're not just watching the same thing over and over again.
How do you think you guys are going to approach live shows? Because obviously the plan, I guess, now is to start gigging again as soon as you can, right? How are you going to like prepare for that? Are you going to look at the live shows very differently to recordings?
Absolutely. We just need to meet up and play with a PA with the instruments we would be playing on stage.
Yeah,
I think and do more live gigs. So we were like studio ready with everything plugged in and the headphones. And then we got into the rehearsal space with live instruments. It's rusty from all sorts of angles. We were like, it's perfect in the studio. Why is it rusty? Yeah.
It's completely different ball game, isn't it? Like they said, we were like, you're playing all plugged in, and it all sounds really good. But then when you're actually live and you have to try and hear your voice through everything else when trying to harmonize and things like that, and it does get a lot more complicated. And that is at the end of the day, the people that are going to see you are going to see you live, and you don't have these extra little things in there, do you? Like.
And I think having, the one really good addition that we purchased was the in-ear monitors. I think that was a worthwhile investment,
definitely,
for the band, because that just from a vocal perspective, because I think we place a lot of emphasis on our vocal harmonies in a lot of our music. So I think for us to be able to express that on stage in a decent manner really does help.
Yeah, it's such a big part of our music that it needs to be right, sort of things. And like Jared said, that it does make such a difference. Because half the time I can't hear myself at all on the front-facing monitors. I'm asking them to keep turning it up, but
and not every venue has a monitor.
No,
makes it hard.
Especially as a drummer, if you play a gig and you can't hear the rest of the band, that is always difficult, and I've been in that situation many a time.
Oh, man. You've got to. I think where the band moves together, and Jared's great at that, giving me visual cues. It really helps.
And I'm just jumping about non-stop, so I've not really anything to go on.
You're jumping on in time,
At least I'm going to get in good shape though when we're gigging again. I've not gigged for ages, and I've not had all that extra exercise.
Lose some of those pounds,
Exactly.
But I think me and Victor, well, me and Chris, in fact, like we've played in bands for years, and we've had so much exposure together playing music that our non-verbal communication is quite strong when it comes to music. So
I think that's sorry, Karen.
Sorry, when me and Victor, even when we were writing, especially earlier on, when we were writing music, we'd look at each other and we would almost know what the next section was going to be, even though we hadn't written it yet, just because we have that communication and we just know what was going to happen, which developed quite nicely. So when we do it nowadays, it's kind of second nature, which is quite cool.
Yeah, it's really good because obviously I played in bands with Jared when we were younger. I played once or twice with Vic, I think, but I've known obviously Vic since I was like 18 or something like that. So we've all known each other, but like obviously Vic and Jared have played a lot together with music. Me and Jared played together a lot, and it just when I came in, it just sort of it felt very natural. But like I picked up on Vic's like things very quickly as well, obviously from working with Jared as well, and we just sort of all three of us just sort of clicked very very easily with like sort of musically. Not friendly, I hate them both, but like musically, we like Jared said, we all pick up on each other. But I think that considering I hadn't really played with Vic before, it's quite good that it sort of become very natural just because of how easy it comes between Vic and Jared and me and Jared. Jared's the linchpin.
That's it.
I think it'd be interesting to hear, because I know you guys have got like a lot of other commitments outside of music. How do you kind of balance your time and balance like how much you give to music versus your other commitments?
Stress and caffeine.
Christ.
Cans of Monster.
Yeah. I don't know. I just sort of go along. I work. As I say, I work. Well, we all work full time. But so obviously, I'm working 9 to 5 every day, and I don't know. I think the music sort of. It's sort of like I could be really stressed at work and everything like that, but then when we all meet up and play for a couple of hours, you just forget everything. It's just sort of as long as we make sure we've got that time to practice. Once we're there, it's just so easy. Like all the stress and everything is gone. So, and we don't. I don't know about you guys, but I don't really get the stress from the band. Like obviously, when we're trying to record and stuff, and you've got deadlines, then it's a little bit more, but it's still not crazy, and it's just really enjoyable. We're not doing it as like our key job sort of thing, are we? We're doing it because we just love to make music. Just love them tunes.
Yeah, I think our what would you call it? What like even early on when it was just me and Victor, we always said, we want it to be fun. Like we never want it to be like it feels like work or a chore. Like, we're only ever going to do this as long as it's fun. So when I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, where we all just think, oh, it's just such a drag, then we'll just say, well, maybe we should either slow down, go in a different direction, or start something new. But I don't feel like it'll get there anyway, because our feeling on the whole thing is we do it in our own time, and there's no stress if we can't make it a week, for example. We do it when we're all available, and if one of us is not available, then we just don't do it, and it's no. It's like, I'm not going to hate either one of them if they go, oh, sorry, I've got something to do. It happens to all of us. Especially when we're adults. When we were kids, we could do it like almost every day, and there was nothing.
I remember half term when we would practice. We'd have a gig on the Friday or Saturday, and we spend all half term practicing every day, practicing and eating sweets.
Yeah. So when you're a kid, you could do it every day, but when we're adults, we've got so many other things to do. So it's not that it's in the back of our minds, but we don't put so much emphasis on we have to get it done. We're not strict like that, and I think that's what makes it easier for us to work together with. We're all in the same mindset.
Yeah, and like if we've got a gig coming up, then we try to make sure we've sort of got practice in. But again, if it's like, oh, we're busy, then all right, the week before the gig, we'll just try and get 2 sessions in or something like that if we can, or if we're not comfortable with it. But then again, if we think, oh no, actually we're pretty happy with how it is, then it's not necessary to. But as long as we practice at some point before a live performance.
Between now and then, I hope so.
Yeah, between now and then. October, I've got it in the diary.
Thinking on the same kind of path, like, what's the long-term vision for the band?
I think
make enough for a couple of beers.
Yeah, I wouldn't put something so structured on it. I mean, you know, we together wrote music for an app a couple of years ago. It's TT Rockstars. It's like a times tables thing for kids. Like, you know, it's played at, I think it's used by most of the schools in the whole country, which is really cool. So, you know, if we went in the realm of we wrote music for other people, or, you know, we sold our music to other places and we made money that way, amazing. That's perfectly fine. I think as long as we're together making music, like I don't think I would want to put any strict goals, really.
I don't think it's hugely about the money or anything. Like with the CDs and things like that, we got some CDs just like for something to sell and like the merch as well. But it's not like we it's more that we want people to listen to the music sort of thing, and that's why we like personally I like pushed Spotify and everything, because that's obviously one of the biggest ways people listen to music. Yeah, we get barely any money from it, but people are more likely to listen to it there because they don't have to buy a CD or they don't have to go to an app that they don't know. It's on something that they're probably listening to all day, every day. So, like, in the end of the day, if we get people listening to the music and people coming to the gigs, that's where you get the real enjoyment as well. Like, of seeing people enjoy your music. And like obviously with feedback from the EPs, like hearing what people have to say about the music and realizing that they have actually listened to it, like seriously listened to it and have feedback to give to us, is really amazing.
Yeah, mostly going to echo the same sentiment. As for me, there's never been a goal of write the track, write the album, get the gig. It's been focusing on the process. As long as we enjoy meeting up and writing the music and doing the live shows, then that's the thing that generates the content. That's the thing that gets us exposure. And like, if it comes to the point where we're making enough to quit our jobs, like that's something we decide. But it's not a goal to eventually be Foo Fighters or whatever.
No.
Just
the only goal is to
focus on the process.
Exactly. As long as we can still do it, that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the fun bit, isn't it?
Yeah, glad we're all healthy. Like, our arms working, our fingers moving. Voices still.
I think that's a great sentiment to kind of like live up to, and I think like all musicians should not forget that, because you do see some bands take themselves too seriously sometimes or get into a hole from it, and I've seen bands like break up over that kind of stuff. And as long as you're having fun and making music, which is what it's all about, then you know, who cares about the other stuff, you know?
Exactly.
So we're actually nearly out of time now, but is there anything else you'd like to leave the audience with?
Listen to our music. It will make you happy. I promise. I don't. There's no like money back guarantee or anything. Just take my word for it. And see our live shows, because they're good as well. And we jump around. Well, I jump around and get really sweaty. And yeah, I wear pink.
Yes.
We haven't touched on the colours or anything, have we?
No.
Sorry?
So basically, as you've probably seen from like our logo and things like that, we've got the colour scheme of I'm all pink, Vic is purple, and Jared is blue. So what that came from was when we made our blue, whatever. So when we did the video for 2 and 3, we wanted to keep it light-hearted. We wanted to like just throw loads of ideas out there, and one of the ideas was, what if we wear different color clothes, and like all the same color, wasn't it? And then it was like shirts and ties with the color, and it just sort of like everything you hit, it changes to the different things we're wearing, sort of thing. And just from that, after we'd recorded it, we're like, that's really cool. I really like that idea, and we tried to make the video focus a lot on that and on the colours that we were wearing there, and tried to use less of the ones of us wearing normal clothes, and it just sort of became a thing. And I think it's really helps give us a bit of an image, because one thing you really like, everybody says if you're gonna be in a band is like, if you want to be successful or anything like that, you just need that thing that sets you apart from everyone else, sort of thing, or the thing that people see and they remember. A brand, exactly. It's things that people see and they remember. And I think for us, we just stumbled into it, that this colour scheme, and it then gave us, when we played on stage, we then had people after the gig. They obviously recognised that we're wearing these different clothes, even if they didn't see like Vic at the back. They saw that he's wearing all burgundy or maroon or purple, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, purple looked better. And yeah, they see us after the gigs, and they're like, "Oh, you were the guys in the band," because they obviously we're not just like normal colours, and they sort of look at you and see if they recognise your face. They see the colours, and straight away they know.
You're the
That is
Weezer
the dude
guys.
that look like that's the dude that looked like an idiot on stage. Yeah, all wearing all pink. I think someone did actually say that to me. I was going for a wee after the gig, and someone was like, "Oh, hey man, I saw you on stage. You're really good." I'm like, "Oh, can I just wash my hands?"
Love that.
Yeah.
Did you want something profound from all of us, Dan?
You can, like, this is your opportunity to kind of say anything else that you want to add in, really.
Big responsibility. I think for me, it's that process thing. Yeah. Chasing goals won't make you happy, because as soon as you meet that goal, you'll have to think of another goal to chase. But if you enjoy the process, then
Yeah, I think that's something we all
you're enjoying yourself, isn't it?
enjoy.
Cool. Great stuff, guys. It's been really good to chat today.
Thanks, Dan.
for having us,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Nice one. Thanks so much, guys. Take
Brilliant.
care. See you next time.
Cheers. See you later. Bye.
Cheers.